you can do whatever you want to do when it comes to sex, but you're not going to screw me and play with my mind at the same time.
What's up, folks? I'm your girl, T. Pearson Hall.
And I'm Malachi Stewart.
And listen, today, here on Positive Voices, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you. We're going to get into it. We have some amazing guests on the couch with us today that's going to give us some conversation around sex work. So help me welcome our guests. How you doing, ladies? Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
So could you just give us a little bit about who you are, what's your name, and what you do?
I am Marlene. I am currently working with CFLS.
Okay.
I'm on the Speakers Bureau where I speak publicly pertaining to sex, homelessness, addiction, things of that nature.
Okay.
So kind of full circle.
Full circle. We're going to get into that circle. Thank you for that. Okay. What about you, young lady?
Yes, hi, I'm Jasmine Christine Ford. I'm a published author, and I also work in the HIV and AIDS space as well.
Okay. Wow. They ain't come to play with us today.
They ain't come to play this.
Not at all.
I'm personally just glad to have both of you here because I feel like the topic of sex work is one where there's just so much stigma and ignorance around it. A lot of people make a lot of assumptions. And so I feel like today is the opportunity for people to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so can we just start with you, Marlene? Can you just tell us sex work? How did you get started? Why did you get started?
Well, actually, I was molested as a child, 8 years old. I really didn't know anything about getting money. Mm-hmm. I was left home alone a lot, pregnant as a teenager. I learned to use my body to get what I wanted for myself and my child. I didn't have any cut cards, money first. You know, we'll talk about everything else later. You're not gonna, beat on me, choke me, and all these other things. You can get off of me in 15 minutes.
She said use what you got to get what you want.
Exactly.
Money first.
No, this ain't no all-night train. I got other things to do.
Hello? And money first.
Exactly. On the word. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. So once you got into it, I just want to follow up with Malachi said. So you were home, alive as a young mother, and then so how was the transition from there? Like, what was that transition, though, to sex work?
Actually, I was married at 25, and my husband was definitely an abuser of women. He was a womanizer, and I felt like if he can go out there and get it, I can go get it too. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to get paid for mine. Mm-hmm. He can go out there and give it away all he wants to. I'm going to get mine. So just being me, being angry at the world because I was hurting inside, had no coping skills, and I wanted to hurt him as much as he was hurting me. So I did things openly.
Okay.
I didn't hide behind the scene.
So he knew what was up?
Not at first.
Okay.
I was on the strip. Okay. He was a trick, but he didn't know it.
No.
He didn't know it then.
He ain't know then.
Yeah, I told him 3 years later after marriage.
Okay.
I was going to say, he know now the thing. If you know.
Oh, I broke it down to him, because he was like, what? He was doing what?
Right. Wow.
And for the audience, who may not know, what is a trick? Define that for us.
Tricking is when you just go out and you see somebody and somebody sees you, you get in a ride or you get them to take you to a hotel, motel, whichever one is preferable for the customer, but you want to be in a safe place, so you got to have your little razor with you or whatever you carry, and you go out and either you give oral sex or physical, I just kind of knew the men I wanted to be with. If you was dirty and all this, I wasn't messing with you. You had to look like money.
Hello.
Standard.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Like for instance, I said my husband, he was coming from work and I saw his uniform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was driving and he was hollering at me. I hollered back.
Holler back, youngin.
Yeah, but things went on from there, and as I said, he was a womanizer. I was hurting. I just didn't know how to express it, or I didn't want to physically fight with him in front of my children because I went through that as a child. So I hurt him in other ways, pocket-wise. I wrecked the car intentionally so he could get us a new one.
Ooh.
things like that. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You was waiting to
she
exhale.
was outside, baby.
She was waiting to exhale. You ready to set the car on fire.
Yeah.
What about you, Jasmine? I want to hear, what was your experience like getting into sex work?
Very similar to Marlene's. I got into sex work as a teen. I was about 12, 13. I was a young little boy. I'm transgendered. So, God, now I'm 51. So I had to have been around. Thank you so much. So this is like 1983, 84.
Okay.
So I was raised in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I was born in Philadelphia. So Bethlehem is like a little suburb of Philadelphia, about like 45 minutes north. And I was going to the mall.
Oh.
I had bus fare to go to the mall. And I think another like $1 for like some chips. So I went I went broke. So walking across from the mall, a car pulled up beside me, and it's a Caucasian man in his, I guess, late 40s, early 50s, and I was a child. And he said, well, can I give you a ride to the front door of the mall? It was a hot summer day. I said, yeah, sure. I should not have been jumping into cars, but I did. And as soon as I got in his car, he put his hand on my lap, and he tried to grab my penis. And I was young, and he said, if you let me, give you head, I'll give you $50.
Oh, wow.
I was 12. So that was a lot of money for a 12-year-old kid who didn't have a lot of money.
Especially in the 80s.
And she only had
And I was going to the mall broke.
Yeah.
To window shop, right?
Oh,
So I let him do it. I was really just shocked. It didn't last long. I was a baby.
Hello.
A few minutes. I was like, okay. And I had money instantly. So within like a few minutes, I had a pocket full of money. So I gave him my home number.
The house phone.
The house phone. Yes. The house phone with the cord.
Okay.
So I went to the mall and I was able to, have a real great afternoon. I bought candy. I played video games at the arcade. I just did things that I would not have money to do.
Yeah.
And it done something to me because I was sexually assaulted too. I was, sexually molested too as well. So I was used to bargaining money for sex, and it was on a hush-hush level because I was a little boy called faggot, called punk, called sissy, all those words growing up. And the same men in my family who called me punk and faggot and said, well, you're too feminine, you're too pretty, they would molest me at nighttime. So I got mixed messages.
Okay.
Either this is wrong and I'm going to hell, but why are you filling me up and have me do things to you at nighttime? So I understood that sex was secret,
Okay.
a dirty secret that you did behind closed doors. So with the sex work, it started off with me kind of being approached, and then it just built. I built like my own little business.
Okay.
Because even in that time, I would give grown men my home number. So I used to walk through parks, and little black boys were a target. I'm not sure when you grow up in white middle class neighborhoods. Let's keep it real. Little black boys, they were a target.
Yeah, can I add to that, little black feminine boys too.
Right.
Like I definitely felt like, I don't think people understand. I'm glad you're saying it, like how much we're targeted when nobody's around. The conversation, and it'd be like you said, the exact same ones that are being homophobic, that have their own self-hatred, are extremely predatory. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so for me, I would give my clients, even as a kid, I would get my clients walking through parks, sitting on bus benches, acting like I was waiting for a bus, and grown men would approach me. This is before the internet, before social media, and that was the way that they would be a predator if we out in the open. Broad daylight, I would go to adult bookstores. Was too young to be in there, but they would let me come in, go in and back, you know, the little, what the glory hole they
Glory
call
hole,
them,
yeah.
you know, that kind of thing during that time. So I built a clientele. And my aunt who raised me, who's in my book, my aunt, she was in her late 50s, but no fool. Aunt Mary was from Augusta, Georgia, and she was like, "Boy, why are these grown men calling my house at telling? I'm just tutoring them. They're really, you know, yeah."
I was gonna ask you that. Like when that phone was ringing at the house, like
It
what was that?
Ringing crazy. I got in trouble. It was ringing 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for a little child.
Because you wasn't like telling them don't call after 9, right? It was just like this
that, but they, you know.
was doing what they wanted to do.
Right. So,
Thank
and
you
then
for
that
sharing
built a
that. Yeah.
clientele for me, and that kind of transitioned. As I grew, I kind of grew my clientele. I got more advanced. Times changed. I got a beeper.
Okay.
Oh, you was balling back in the day with the
I got
beeper.
beat this little house phone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I did that.
Okay.
And I transitioned to I did my transition physically and kind of like maintained something that we're gonna talk about too as well is like, you know, when you're in sex work, there's a psychology of prostitution. There's a mentality that kind of goes along with that people really don't understand.
Can you break that down
That's
for
really
both
interesting.
of you?
For me, there's what they call a whole mentality. You have to have a whole mentality.
A whole mentality. Okay.
You have to, you know, be hip to the game, be strong. And some people come into it really naive. I was from the burbs. I was really naive, but I learned over time how to navigate that space in a way that's going to keep me safe physically. I was small boned and, you know, thin and feminine. How to keep myself safe, you know? I had to be kind of witty and sharp and intelligent, but also sexy and you know, super seductive all at one time. You have no idea like what you have to go through. It's not just, you know, laying down and performing a sex act. You have to be someone's fantasy. Whether you're, I tricked when I was sick, had the flu, fresh post-op from a boob job, a nose job, my testicles, I'm getting taken out. I tricked the next day.
Wow.
In some pain. That was just the lifestyle. I was chasing money. I didn't have any addictions. I didn't drink. I never drank, never smoked, never done any kind of drug, but I wanted that paper. You would think that I had something because I was like, I tricked from the time I got up to when I went to sleep.
Wow.
You were a hustler. You were out there hustling.
Yeah.
What about you, Marlene? What was
That's where we differ because whereas you were called a hoe, I was called a trick. Because when you were a natural prostitute and everybody knew you were, you'd be out there in your stilettos, back on K Street, 14th and K, places like that. You'd have on your trick clothes and wear your little perfume. I didn't do all that. I dressed in regular clothes, but I had clientele as well. They knew me when they saw me out there, and they would say, "Precious, come here, Precious." And it got so popular that the police would call me, "Come here, Precious." I want to talk to you. However,
Come here, Precious.
no, they would ask me things like, did I see somebody, you know, get hurt or whatever. And at that time, they had this van that would come around at night called Hips. You know, they would give out the condoms and things of that nature for the women that were prostituting. So I just felt like, as opposed to just going out working for the money, I was working for survival. You know, because it was not just to aid myself. I said I was a teenage mom, but I didn't say how old. I had my son at 13.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had a son at 13 years old. I was still in junior high, but I knew enough to know that boys ain't had no money. I had to go with the older men.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted somebody with a job. Boys ain't had no car. Have a car to take me places. But no, it just became a thing for me because I couldn't get a regular job. I wasn't old enough. But I could do other things, you know. And I wasn't ashamed of it. You know, as people try to hide things, when not telling people. I was always outspoken with it. When other girls would ask me, how you feel about doing this? Oh, you just had a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Did it hurt? All these kind of things. Try it yourself, you see.
Right, but just like, you go ahead and
Yeah, self-experience is the best experience. But I mean, I got some guys, not stalkers, but addicted to me.
hello?
And I was,
She said she was the drug baby. Don't play.
yeah, because it became a regular thing. It was like, I didn't have the phone calls or the beepers, but they would blow their horns past my house. Let me know, come on outside.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Blow the horn 2 times. And, yeah, okay, I know what that is.
And you was coming outside to get that 15 minutes worth of money.
Hey, but it was
worth
money.
Yeah, it was.
And you know she
Yeah.
said money first, honey.
She said
Exactly.
It's the beep beep and then the...
Yeah,
and
but
then
you
we
know,
go-
as like I said, they got addicted. Then the money had to go up.
Yeah.
If you want to see me more, you got to pay me more.
The rates
I mean, and I have somebody else to support.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had somebody else to support, and I didn't go around looking like a bum. I needed things. I wanted to buy new shoes, pocketbooks, everything. You know, and other girls didn't have that. Their parents bought their clothes. I didn't have somebody to buy me nothing. I still don't. Independence. But along with that, she was speaking about the mental abuse. I beat myself up about that. Then and now, I still do. I think back to it. But later on, they told me that I was promiscuous and I had bipolar. I said, why?
Right.
I couldn't understand that. Why?
Who said that to you?
The psychiatrist. I went to a psychiatrist. I was, went to a women's homeless shelter. It was really cold out. I wanted to get inside. I went into the shelter. It was an overnight shelter. Went in there, and they had a psychiatrist there, and I wanted to know why, if there's something wrong with me. I mean, am I crazy? Because I got that. I'm like, you're crazy. No, I'm not. I'm just I'm dependent on me. I don't look for people to take care of me anymore. Like I said, I was home alone a lot, so I learned to fend for myself. And I got beat up by a man that said he loved me. I got shot by a man that said if I didn't see him anymore, he was going to kill me. I was 18. You're married. Go home to your wife. Why you want to chase me around?
Yeah.
But apparently I was doing some things she wasn't. And that was the whole thing.
May I ask something? Because often in the field of like the medical field, and we often have clinicians that don't look like us, that don't come from the same socioeconomic background that we come from. And so I'm not a clinician. I can't speak to, what the psychologist said to you and whether that diagnosis was accurate. But I can ask you, how did it make you feel? Did it feel like this was a person who was dismissing your experience? Because I hear you on the couch now and you sound like a person who responded to their circumstances. You said, I had these sexual experiences. I learned that sex was a way to negotiate money. I'm already having these experiences. Men are already doing what they're doing, but I can empower myself and use this to make money off of it and be able to be independent and support my child. That's what I'm hearing you say, and yet that translates to someone else as like, you're promiscuous, and therefore it's mental illness.
I didn't care.
And
You can
okay.
call me what you want. Just don't call me too late for dinner and make sure you got that money.
Yeah.
Hello. Don't call me too late for dinner. I'm going to start using that one.
Oh, don't do it.
Quick question for both of you ladies, because I heard you both started at different sides, right? And so could you give us just a little quick run through for people who may not understand sex work? Like there's different types and all of that stuff, right? So could either one of you or both talk to like that different dynamic?
Sure, I can start. For myself, I ran a business. Like I was making about $35,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
As technology progressed, I first did the magazine ads, and then I would pay $300, $400, $500 just in my advertisement
For escorts.
per month.
Advertisements
Right,
for escorts.
right.
Escort business.
Advertisement for my services within magazines. Online advertisement. So I would charge between $300 to $500, $1,200 per hour, depending on what they want. I had services that I had like all night services, dinner,
Package
some
deal.
dancing, a package deal,
Okay.
and then we'll adjourn to one's, hotel, and that was a few $1,000s. I had clients who were the average Joes. I had clients who were doctors, lawyers, some actors, some ball players, same things that we hear online. Very famous, very wealthy. And then I had men who had to save 2-3 weeks for my services.
Okay.
You know? So for me, I didn't care. Which is so crazy because now that I've retired, I'm like, damn, I was crazy as hell. Like I was like bugging.
It's to think back.
Right. When I think back, I was like, my God, I put myself in really risky situations. For example, I had a few clients who were in the mafia. I know. So I would say, just leave your guns out on. I was just talking like it was a lot like a normal conversation.
Leave them out on the table.
Leave your guns out on my little potted plant. If you sell drugs, leave your drugs out there. Don't come in my house. I was just bugging. I was about that money, and it was about it was whatever happened in my house. I didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
My clients knew that they were anonymous. I was not interested in exposing anybody for what they did. Pay me my money.
Your house was Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, what happens
I
in
had a
States
full
here.
service bar. I would make drinks. They'll come in. They get a cocktail. Porn was playing. Sometimes I was the porn that was playing.
This is an experience.
Yeah.
This is an experience. You can get your money worth for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had to pay for all my little surgery. Because I had a bunch of surgeries. So I spent about $200,000 cash on my body and my face. This is before wonderful Obama made it possible for trans women to have gender affirming surgeries. This is before that when it was called elective surgeries.
Yeah.
So I paid cash.
Wow. So I was going to ask you that. So did your prices go up when you transitioned? Like, was there a shift? Did you?
It was yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I found that with my clientele, I would advertise on very high end sites and like sites where I even did like Backpage and
Back pages and stuff,
Backpage and Craigslist where like they get like a little discount even during the pandemic. No. Even during the recession.
Okay.
Back in what 2012, 2013, around then. I was still banking $20,000 a month
Wow.
during a recession
Hello. Okay.
Ah, she got me.
because sex sells.
It does. And it's always
men
has.
will. I had men like sell. I mean, sell their shit. And this is just conversation. But I've had some men who would sell their children's Christmas gifts.
Wow. To get that money together.
Right.
Wow.
I put one client out. I said, "You gonna bring me sell your son's sneakers
Yeah.
to get
Right. That was the
screwed in
save
your
up.
butt? We're not doing that. No, you can no. I couldn't do it. But many different stories. I mean, we have stories because you have no idea who patronized transgender services. And my clients were mostly married men.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
Yeah, I wanna
it
know
was
what you
totally
like.
different. I wasn't always about the money. Like I said, it was about survival, about taking care of my kid, trying to make sure we had food on the table. And I had a sister, but we weren't really close. So I was giving her money or buying her cigarettes, so she could watch the baby. When that horn blow, I can go out and get it done. Like I said, 15 minutes or less. And I come right back in, but I have my money.
Yeah.
So
So no ads for you, no like high end, like it wasn't an organized thing. It was just kind of like you meet a person.
organized when I started doing drugs with the sex.
Ah.
When I
Okay.
started getting high in sex, it became more because you could give me drugs instead of just money.
Oh, okay, so your payment was in drugs sometime too.
Sometimes when,
Okay.
especially when Rayful Edmond was out, you know, they had the working 50s as they call them. And you could break that down and you could sell some. Sometimes the guys that I trick with was guys that I got high with.
Okay.
You know, so you can give me some money and you can still buy me something to get high. But that's it, because I got to go home. But as a teenager, men like to play with your head, you know, and being around older men, some of them try to school me, as they said, but I already knew.
Okay.
I had an older brother, and he would tell me certain things. The guy that I said that shot me, I was around with him about 8 years straight, and he just couldn't believe that I would go out with other men. You're not paying me enough. One, you got a wife, another.
Wow.
Two, I don't love you. You know, because you don't really put your feelings in that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, why? Because you know it's not yours. It's just a hit and miss or a hit and run. You can do whatever you want to do when it comes to sex, but you're not going to screw me and play with my mind at the same time.
I got you. So, question for both of you ladies, right? So, when we talk about sex work, we hear the money, right? So, was there any like fear of like STIs, STDs, HIV, AIDS? Was there ever thoughts or treatment, preventive treatment when you were working?
I always thought that it was from gay people
Okay.
because back in the 80s, you know, people were dying. And I know about the transvestites that used to be on K Street and places like that. And I would always assume, because it really wasn't popular as it is right now, people living longer. But back then, people would have it and didn't know they had it.
Okay.
So it's very transferable. Just like me, I didn't know it until I got arrested that I had HIV. So I could have been passing it, but I never knew. So it wasn't intentional. Whereas the person that gave it to me, he knew he had it. He knew he had it, but he didn't protect himself,
Yeah.
and I didn't protect me. So it goes both ways, because I didn't ask him to use the rubber.
Okay.
You know, because it didn't start out as that. It started out as oral sex, him giving me oral sex. You know, and that ended up being more.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. But I wasn't trying to get into no relationship. I couldn't afford to get into a relationship because it's too dangerous. When you get people's feelings involved, you know, you're setting yourself up. Or if I get too attached, and I know you going home to somebody else, or you got a wife and kids, even if you don't have a wife and kids, I can't be your wife, I'm too young.
Okay.
I got older, I got smarter, but I was bolder.
How so?
Because I would tell the police certain things, not on people, but about me.
Okay.
You know, when they would stop me and ask me certain questions, what you got? I just saw you come out that building. What was you doing in there? Don't ask me that. You already know. That's a dumb question. I was getting mine. Getting what? Getting that paper. But don't play with me about why I'm doing it, because they already knew. It's just like the neighborhood, you know, whereas when your child do something bad, the neighbors spank you, then you go home and the parents spank you. Everybody know, they just not saying it.
Got you.
You know, but I would say it because I spoke on it. I was like, some people can get pregnant as teenager and their parents will take care of the baby like it's theirs, and it's a family secret. You know, I already knew that people knew what I was doing.
Okay.
But did I care? Did they care? Did they call me a trick or whatever? You can call me whatever you want to. And the guys that was tricking with me knew that I was tricking with other people, and they never protected themselves.
Okay.
You know, but after I found out, I'm married at 25.
Okay.
So I didn't get it until 99. And I had to tell my husband, and I had to sit with my kids and say, look, the last time I was locked up, they tested me. I tested positive for HIV, and I was exposed to TB from sharing, you know, a pipe with people. So my husband was like, you have what? You got it from what? And I told him point blank, you know, just like you be out there with them tricks and you go to the strip clubs, I got something from one of my tricks.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so my son was like, Mom, are you going to die? No, absolutely not. I'm going to live as long as I possibly can. I wasn't in a mind frame that I was going to go out there and let somebody shoot me or stab me because I'm out there. They know I'm a trick or whatever, because I always had a way to defend myself. I had my little blade. I would stick you real quick. If I had,
poke 'em.
the guys told me, put a straight razor there. So, you already knew. And that's how I ended up in jail. They say simple assault. If I'm defending myself, why are you going to say simple assault? Am I supposed to let this person hurt me? Are you crazy? That's what I asked them, the police. Why are you locking me up? Oh, you just cut this guy. Okay, what was he doing to me?
Did your fear shift once you got your diagnosis? Like, of now you know your status, but were you still doing sex work? Right after your
Absolutely.
diagnosis?
But with condoms, and I had to know you.
Okay.
Like I said, when I was out there on all these places where Rafe was, the drug dealers knew me. They knew me, and I had so much of a clientele, whereas you had people that would beep you. I had people that was just knew me from the way I walked, the way I looked. Wasn't as big as I am right now, but a healthy lady. And guys would say, come here, Precious, let me holler at you. And I was like, what are you talking about? You talking about some money? Okay, fine. And that would be that. That's just the drug dealers. Right? But the overall, where you used to say John, the overall John to see me on the street and don't know me, when things got difficult, and I started feeling like, okay, I don't know this guy, he might be in a kidnapping.
Okay.
He might be one of the people that want to drive me out into a dark place. I kind of like my spirit man would rise up. Like they say your hairs on the back of your neck rise. My spirit man would say, no, don't trust that, don't go with him.
Okay.
How I knew, I don't know. Like I said, it had to be my higher power because, somebody was shielding me. I wasn't shielding me, but somebody was. Maybe it was my mom's prayers. I have no idea. But I know that the only person that actually hurt me was the guy that was with his wife. And I was with him for 8 years because he refused to let me go, even though he knew I was doing other stuff. He just was like adamant about making me his. You can't claim something that's not yours.
Yeah, that part.
It's not enough money in the world to make me say, okay, I'm yours, and you married. But it hurts to tell people that, no, I don't love you.
Yeah.
Because there's feelings involved.
No, it's hard for people to hear sometimes.
I mean, I wasn't trying to be mean, or shoot the person down for saying that they love me or they got feelings. I was trying to be honest, open and direct. I don't have no cut cards. Didn't then, don't now. I'm going to tell you this. Don't get your feelings involved.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get mine involved. I might like you. It might even be good sex.
She said might be.
Might even be good sex. But I'm not going to, it's just too risky, I didn't want to shack up. I knew that I did want to get married someday. And when I got married, he was out there, foreigner. Foreigners always got a job. So I went outside the country to get a husband. Lord forgive me. Well, no, I'm serious. No, because that's where the money was. They came up here, they went to college, they became doctors, lawyers, whatever they wanted to become, and I wanted some of that money. So, I want a nice house, I want a nice car. If you're going to get happy with me and be with me for the rest of my life, put something on the table besides me. Because I'm going to bring something to the table, but then I had to get legit. I had to stop all the tricking.
Okay.
But I had my side kicks, because I knew he was going out. I knew he was going to, Foxy Playground and the Penthouse, all these places. I knew he was doing those things. I knew he knew strippers. They would call him, page him. I would call them back sometime. Oh, yeah, I would call them back. Oh, he not here right now. Can I take a message?
That take a message.
Yeah.
But you mentioned being legit, and I do want to actually ask you both a question about that transition. But before I do, I wanted to hear just Jasmine. There are a lot of assumptions that people make, especially about trans women, when it comes to sex work.
Right.
What did, if anything, the protection look like for you from STIs, HIV? What did your experience end up being?
Right. Growing up, I was this is back in the 80s, so I was inundated with just fear of like contracting HIV, even from like a teenager. So I knew about HIV. I knew I didn't want to get it. It was killing people at that time. For me, I was very adamant about using condoms, especially when I like transitioned and around like, 19, 20, that age. So for me, I didn't drink or do any drugs.
Okay.
So I went into every session coherent and very clear, So I wasn't clouded by any substances. So I would say, condoms or no play. Okay. I was very serious about that, So no amount of money was going to compromise me in regards to my health. Even clients who wanted to pay more money to have unsafe sex, because they do, they'll offer you more money, right?
Exactly.
The answer is no.
Okay.
And then there are clients who will pull off a condom in mid-stroke.
That's just men, period.
For real.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very conscious of what you're doing. So during that session, you have to be sexy and in the moment sexually pleasing and still be mindful of what he's doing.
Wow.
And still pretending that you're just fantasy. So that takes up a lot of like mental, like brain power, right? So I caught quite a few, it feels different when it's raw. When it's like, so for
no wonder why you would charge all that money. You had to do a lot. You got
That was a lot of work.
You got to put on a show, fill the condom, make sure it's there. Okay.
Be sexy, So
and security.
Right. So I had I was very careful about that. So and then later on, but see, I wasn't careful. Like I was careful with clients, but my story is different because I would date men who had little to nothing, and they would let me trick, and I had low self-esteem. I was good at dressing up the outside because the inside was so hurting and so dirty and so all that.
Okay.
So I was good at looking good and being physically perfect, and I had your body yada, small waist, big chest, round hips, and dressing nice, but inside I wanted to die, and that's how I kind of like dealt with my pain, right? So for me, being trans, like you said, a lot of men did not want to openly, claim us, openly validate us. So for me, they did so in my business. You're going to pay me for sex.
Yes.
I'm not your experiment. I'm not your project. You want me, you'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's how that's it.
Yeah.
Was
it you mentioned condoms? Was condoms the only preventative measure you took? I know we talk a lot about PrEP here on the show, free exposure.
Right. Later on, 2017, towards towards my retirement, I began using PrEP every single day. I used PrEP for 2 years straight.
What made you want to go on PrEP, and did you continue to use the condoms after?
Oh God, fear. Like, what made me fear? I knew that just using condoms for me just wasn't enough because I don't know what I mentioned this, but I was working in the HIV field, still seeing clients.
Okay.
I was a nurse and still seeing clients. I was in nursing school and I would go to class, take an exam on chemistry and pathophysiology and then go home and do a client. Like that was my lifestyle. So I could not let that money go, even though I was navigating, my education, and I finished college, became a nurse. I was still tricking. 'Cause it was part of my adulthood, my youth. I couldn't let it go. Even with my faith, it was what they call a stronghold. I was really like trying to quit, but I could not. I was just so used to the attention, so used to the adulation, because there's something about when you're low self-esteem, there's something very special about someone calling you up in them choosing you. I'm choosing you out of like a whole sea of other girls.
Got you.
You're special, and I'm going to pay you for your time because you're special.
Precious.
And you look at us like precious,
Precious.
yes,
Listen,
Yes.
you are precious. Listen, no.
Precious. Yeah, that was my name.
Precious self. Yeah.
Precious. I mean,
That was
yes, and you felt, and you feel special. You feel validated.
I want you both to answer this thing because you really lead me into that. You said that you were working in the field, that you would become a nurse, is what I'm hearing you say.
Right.
And yet you were still escorting. You were still, doing sex work. How difficult was it both for you all to transition out, and how did that end up looking?
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. That paycheck.
the first paycheck.
The first
The
legal
first
paycheck.
paycheck, because okay, I've always worked, but I always tricked. So I had two paychecks. I had like my paycheck, and then I had my real money that came in like every single day.
Ooh, the real money is
Right,
a new
the
concept.
real money. So when I didn't have the real money and only that check, and you work hard for two. I'm getting a little like a flashback. And you work hard for 2 weeks.
This
80
is triggering.
hours.
Would you say this is triggering?
Yes.
Right.
You preaching to my choir now.
For eight-
Talk about
I'm-
that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Uh,
For 80 hours.
Yes. Hello. All that
Navigating
work.
people here and there, and you're doing the assessments, and you're working hard and getting up in the morning and driving.
Hello.
I drove an hour
Ooh.
to
I
Virginia.
understand that. I
Yeah.
understand.
And then I got my check. Happy. I got my check in my hand, and woohoo! And I
you
opened
opened that
bag.
envelope.
Wait a second.
She just as bald-headed.
Wait.
Hello.
Ain't an edge in sight.
Wait.
Who's them?
Wait, with the rest, what's going on? And who's
Who's
the
FICA?
FICA?
Yeah, we don't know them. We don't know them.
Who he?
Miss
Yeah.
Sanchez is fierce.
They don't even come to
So
reunions.
I was, I did something, yeah.
Okay.
Seriously, that was hard. So for me, I had to pray myself through it. And really, I had to just have a different mindset. It's almost like, for me, even though I'd never been on drugs, someone told me that who was on drugs, it's like getting off of a substance. Because for many years, I had a particular lifestyle that served me, that fed me, right? And I had very few consequences. I didn't have an STD. I didn't contract HIV. I didn't go to prison. I went to jail twice and stayed like a weekend. That's a low inconvenience, but I never really had any real consequences.
Okay.
So it kept me in the game longer, and I made like a lot of money. I had a condo, new cars every couple of years. It was a flying here, flying there. Just to give you, just to add some context, when I did my taxes a few years back, just in my traveling expenses, I had to claim those too as well. I spent just on flying across the country and staying in hotels, $35,000 just on traveling hotels for one year. For 1 year.
Ooh.
So how did you let go? Like, what made
Yeah.
the last trick the last trick?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I was a Christian. Well, I'm a Christian, and for many years I was navigating my faith and my gender and sex work, and I'd be in church on Sundays and my phone on vibrate, and after the benediction,
Hello.
I get my praise in and go home and would see a client.
Not in the church clothes.
She changed.
I would change.
Okay. Okay.
I would.
Yeah, I don't think that was well, that might have been the
But
fantasy.
sometimes I would see my clients in the sanctuary.
True.
Right.
The preacher,
And
the
you-
deacon.
Don't you say the preacher and the deacon. Hello. Hello.
So yeah. So what happened was I just had to. I prayed through it, and I think I was just really delivered because it was just the last client that I saw, I was like, I couldn't do it anymore. There was something something changed. There was something different about the way my client smelled and looked. Everything was always familiar. That particular day, everything changed. Nothing was the same. And I said, I cannot do this. There's something about me now laying down with someone for money just was not going to work for me. I had just had my bottom surgery. And it might be becoming just having my full transition might have done something to me mentally. It might have been just me being tired after 30 years of sex work. I'm not sure what that was, but I think now because I had, can I say vagina? Can I say my
You can say
whatever you want. Yeah.
You can talk about your vagina.
Yeah, sure can.
Here on Positive Voices.
Okay, well, she's cute.
Hey, hey,
She real cute.
hey.
But so
my
I
God.
think that for me, having waited so long to have that kind of procedure done, and I could no longer just give myself away. There's something about that.
It felt sacred.
That surgery. It
was
sacred.
It felt sacred.
The whole it felt sacred, and I was not going to let anyone tamper or tinker with my new body.
Yeah.
She was precious.
No, she wasn't. That was me.
No, because Marlene said Precious was out here in the streets.
But I was precious. That's what she said.
I'm older than you, so I was out there.
What made
Me,
Precious' last client, her last trick, the last one? What made Precious turn back into Marlene?
Okay, as I said, see, this wasn't a career for me. This was just a way of life.
Okay.
At that time, until I met him, I actually did end up falling in love with my husband. I genuinely loved him. I wanted a house, a stable home. Like I said, I wouldn't fight at home. I wouldn't even like to argue in front of my kids. You know, we could talk about this later, not in front of the kids. But 2-car garage, house, whatever. That's why I said I knew foreigners had those good jobs, you know. So if you're gonna take care of me and my kids, even if they're not yours, you gotta have some good money. And I don't wanna have to go outside to get none. I will tell you right to your face, if you stop taking care of us, I'm gonna stop taking care of you and I'm gonna go get it myself.
Oops. What'd you say? That's up front.
I don't know no other way. I've been doing it for so long. You know, but then there were guys that would beg me, like, baby, just come. I'll give you $300 to piss in my face. Stuff like that, you know. These was easy jobs.
What'd you say? That was the easy. That was the easy word. What'd you say?
I mean, you got to go to the bathroom anyway.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
exactly.
You know,
So,
okay.
And she said 15 minutes or less, baby. She better than Jiffy Lube.
When I tell you
Jiffy Lube
Precious
get
was
you
fierce out here,
baby. She didn't come to play with us. I already said that.
I'm trying to keep it 100.
We appreciate it. He had positive voices.
I know that's right. But I just told myself in my mind, is this what you know, when the question you get, where you see yourself in 5 years from now? You know, I don't want to see myself still tricking outside, hooked on drugs. I got clean. I got interested in other things.
I want to pause
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
you can't slide that in. I'm in recovery too, so one day
I mean,
at a
it wasn't
time, I
easy.
get
It wasn't easy. I mean, because I was in and out of 30-day programs, back and forth, 6 months. I come back out and relapse.
Oil change. You know that's what
Yeah, it
we
was
call
just a little. No,
tune
that
up.
was when you go to jail for 6 months for
Oh,
like
oil
missing a court date. No, that's when you get a little vacation.
Oh, the little vacation.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you get clean and you come back out and start over again.
Okay.
But you know, I had some other things on my mind. I wanted my kids to go to good schools.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted my health insurance. I didn't need no 401k. That was on the table from the get-go. When you said I do to me, everything, 50-50. And if I leave you tomorrow, I want that, and this, and I got that.
Precious was my kind of girl.
Hello.
It's no bottom line to that.
Yeah.
That's it, and that's always on the table, and if you can't take it, leave it.
Hello.
Somebody else will. Because I knew I was gorgeous. I knew how to handle
precious.
my business, you know, and I knew that people fell in love with me.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with him. He fell in love with me. I said, okay, it's time to stop. Pump your brakes. That all these other tricks go. You know, even though they want to keep it going, the money look good, you have somebody that you can settle down with. Like they say, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Bullshit. I was ready to be the house. I was tired of being out there. I was ready to be the housewife. Let me come in here and cook the meals and clean the house and kids go to school. I'm good.
So feeling stable changed things for you. But
I was secure.
Yeah.
you were secure.
Security, yeah.
What role did your spirituality play? Not even at the end, but at any point. Because I hear you talking about your spirituality. It played such a big role.
Right.
What role did your spirituality play?
Well, my family, my mother's side especially, have always been religious, from evangelist ministers, my grandmother, her sister, my great aunt. I was in the choir as a child, you know. When my kids started getting curious about God, I would take them to Sunday school. My husband was a Christian, so he said, but he wasn't displaying the Christian qualities, not out there, you know, committing adultery and all that. But no, I just wanted to be the right type of person that my kids could look at. I have 7 sons, 1 daughter, and not one of those sons will touch a woman harmfully. You know, they still open doors for women, car doors, front doors, whatever it is. They'll help you with your bags. I raised those kind of sons because I know what real men are made out of. You know, because some people can play a man, but you ain't no man.
Ooh.
Okay.
You know, if I can manipulate you,
One.
if I can finesse you, let's say,
Right.
yeah, I want to go on this cruise, you know, I don't have nobody to go with me. Can you get my girlfriend a ticket?
That was a good finesse. And you and your girl.
I would just make it up, say, I've never been on a boat before. Can you let me go on? You know?
You get that smile with them dimples.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's,
Hello.
like I said, I knew God fell for me, you know, and I could play innocent, knowing I was devious as hell. Throw it on you real good. Well, look, I need this right now. I can't wait till tomorrow. Gotta have it.
Yeah.
School about to start. My sons need this, that, and the other, and I don't have enough for this. Can you give me $500 now? It's a package deal.
Hello.
Like I said, you know people in the area.
I'm hearing packages.
Listen, when you're dealing with people like Rayful Edmond, his uncles, the people out there, he called them lieutenants, and you know you connected with that type of people and those groups of people, even if you were on drugs, they look out for you. Especially if you good. They won't let nobody beat you up or try to rob you or anything like that. They're going to put you with good people. And I've had drug dealers buy clothes from crackheads and give them to me for my kids. With tags still on them.
Gotcha.
They would boost. They would bring them to them, and I would get. So it was a way, you know, one hand washed the other. It was a way to manage, and I wanted that same attitude with my raising my kids in my household. Only I didn't let that interfere with my housing.
Gotcha.
I already had a mental state that okay, I want this type of man. I want this type of house. What am I going to do to contribute? But I couldn't say what I wanted to do 5 years from now. So I had to really think about that. As I mentioned before, the preachers and the deacons, they were scratching my palm, so I knew what that meant.
Right. See you
We
later.
still know what.
That's see you later.
Yeah.
I understand
Exactly.
that too.
So, you know,
Right.
he up there on the pulpit getting some money. I
Yeah.
have to be the first lady for that. Give it.
Hello.
Get some of that money to me. But I learned that in order for you to have a set goal, you got to have a set mind. And my mind wasn't set on anything but making sure my boys was all right. Let me get my kids fed, clothed, haircut, you know, educated, and all that other stuff will fall into place. And it didn't for me like I wanted to. So I said, okay, what is it that you really like to do? I like to take care of people. So I went to school. I went to PTC Career Institute to become an assistant nurse. I like taking care of the veterans. I like talking to old people. As I said,
Hey, I'm Army vet who.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
church got me humble. And as I said before, I did some prison time, but it was for killing my paramour. I didn't mean to kill him, you know, but again, I got this thing about you touching me the wrong way. If you hit me, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna fight you. You're a man. You think you're stronger than me. So that's what happened. But I did that time, and my mind became clear from everything. It was just me. No kids, nobody, no bills, no nothing. I had to focus on me while I was serving that time. So I continued my education throughout the incarceration. every kind of class I could take. I programmed all the way through. And it gave me goals, So when I got close to the doors, they said, about to get out, I had a 24-month plan already laid out of what I was going to do when I was released.
Okay.
So I had a job before they released me, just over the phone. So, as soon as I got my identification, I was going to work. But I needed to have a plan for the long term. Like I said, no 401k. Now my husband is to the curb. He can go ahead, because I had some money backed up. I invested in some bonds, stocks and bonds. Little things like that helped me set up for my kids. It wasn't always about me. It wasn't always about the sex. I love the sex now. I love the sex. But sometimes you got to put yourself on the back burner when you're dealing for somebody else. That's why I didn't let my feelings get involved, because of my kids. All my love goes to those kids. You can say you love me 30 times a day. Okay. That's it. You ain't going to give me no I love you back. No, for what? I love the money.
Got you. Thank
What?
you. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, but after coming clean, I grew closer to my religion. I studied more. It was the only time in my life that I actually got to read the whole Bible from front to back. I actually had time to do that, but like I said, my mind was a sponge. So I started learning things, and I already said, when I come out, I'm going to pay it forward. And that's what I'm doing right now.
And speaking of paying forward, can you look at this camera and pay it forward to someone who may be doing sex work right now that has a positive status? What could you talk to and tell them that you think could be helpful for them? And then, Ms. Jasmine, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Well, I'm not an entrepreneur like this sister, but I work for Community Family Life Services. And it is a business that it's not fundable, but the people that we help are women that are returning citizens.
Okay.
Women that have been incarcerated 15, 20 years, that when they come out, they don't know how to use a cell phone or a smart trip card or any of these things. We help them get on their feet. We give them housing. A lot of times, people don't want to go back to what they knew. They want to start fresh. And that's very hard when you come out to a system. You have no clue. But Washington, D.C. was not the same when I came home. There wasn't even a Walmart here when I left. I came back, it was everything else. And it's still changing. But the women that come to us, we go out to the halfway houses. We invite them. We do sex talks with them, sex education, because you've been clean for 15, 16 years. You come out and give it a John, you don't know what's happening. But we educate these ladies. We give them classes on employment. We help them get housing, whether it's a 30-day emergency house, 6 months, 2 years. We'll help you to help yourself. You can build on us. We can build on you. I speak about HIV freely because I want them to know my story, so in turn it might be able to help another person. So it doesn't bother me to talk about what I did, how I did it, and what I learned from it. And what I learned from it today is that there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to use their voices and say, I'm not afraid of it anymore. I used to be ashamed of myself. Like I said, I beat myself up all the time because I knew it was wrong. I knew everything I did was wrong. And like she said, I'm going to hell. No, I'm not.
Hello.
No, I'm not going the opposite way, because you can change.
Yes.
And with age and wisdom, all those things change for me. So when I go out and do the speaking events at Hopwa or UDC or any place that I go speak at, I tell them, please ask me any questions you need to know. Because I'm going to be blunt about it. I'm going to be truthful about it, because they need to know. It's a need to know thing. If you have a person that's been gone for 15 years to come back, they have no home, they have no job, they have no identification, they have no transportation. And they need help. Who do you send them to?
Right. That's a good question.
So you educate them on how to get resources, how to get this. Yeah, and that's what I do now.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Ms. Jasmine.
Yes.
I keep eyeing this book that you have over there beside you. Talk to us a little bit about you being a published author. What is that book about?
Oh, wow. So during the pandemic, this is 2020, during a time where we were all afraid, we're all sequestered to be inside, I started off as just writing down my thoughts about my life, taking stock of myself, stock of my life, and A few pages turned into a chapter, and then 4 months later, I had a 312-page book.
Okay. Come through, book.
Called Flight of the Beautiful Lie. The story behind the title is pretty simple, but I think most of us can relate to it. I'm in church, and this is 12 years ago, and a church member who was my friend, we did some evangelizing in the community together, and we were going to an event, and I was getting dressed at her house, and I was in her mirror, half dressed, and I asked her, "How does my hair look?" And she said, I can look at her through the reflection of the mirror. For the very first time, I saw in that reflection what she really thought of me. She said, "Jasmine, you're nothing but a beautiful lie."
Wow.
And I knew what she meant. She meant that because I was trans, I was a lie.
Wow.
I was not authentic. She was my friend.
Wow.
And when she said it, I saw her in the mirror. I saw her scowl behind my back. That hurt me to my core because she was someone that I would pick up and drop off every Sunday for church. Every prayer meeting, any church event, I would drive 15 miles to her house, to the sanctuary, back to her house, and then back to where I lived in Pembroke Pines.
Wow.
It hurt me deeply, but I never forgot. We were not friends again
I thank you for that.
after that.
Yeah.
Not friends again, but that really stuck in my heart. And when I began to write my book, I titled it "Flight of the Beautiful Lie." I took some ownership. I took that very pejorative statement and I owned it. The flight. I might be a beautiful lie in that person's opinion, but I'm going to fly and soar.
Ooh.
And this is a book about my journey from having a mother who was bipolar schizophrenic, from a father who was a convicted pedophile, to be being sexually abused and not wanted as a kid, to going into sex work, transitioning, battling my my faith and my spiritual life with my transition, to now evolving into who I think God wanted me to be. And that is someone who is self-actualized, who know who I am. It took me a very, very long time to love myself. The outside, I always would tinker because nothing was good enough. I would spend a lot of money dressing up the outside. I would, for example, have a nose job. Before it would heal, I would say, "I'm not perfect. Do it again.
Wow. Okay.
Do it again."
Yeah.
I have a tiny waist. I wanted it smaller, so I would diet. I became bulimic, anorexic. I was every complexion you can think of. I would bleach my skin to the point where my skin was like so transparent you could see my veins.
Ooh. Okay.
Something called Fair and White.
Wow.
That's a whole nother show.
Yes, I see.
The whole title, Fair and White. Right? I did not think that I was good enough because I come from a largely light-skinned family, and there's a whole nother
Colorism.
a whole nother situation. So I all these things, and my book covers the majority of that. And now I'm successful not because of what I've done academically or professionally. I think that I'm successful because I have survived and thrived. Being proudly a 51-year-old transgender woman is amazing because most of my sisters succumbed to violence before 30, before 32, before 35. And to sit here and say I'm 51 is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing. They told me when I was 20 that I was going to die of AIDS, die of this, die of that. People say the most cruel thing when you're young, cruel thing. But I'm here, and my book is I'm so proud of it. Now I do tours. I didn't know this, but God told me, right, honestly, and be transparent. And my thought was, God, if I tell folks that I was a prostitute, how and I work in the business, how's it that's going to limit me? That's going to make people not want to hire me. That's going to put a professional ceiling that I can't knock through. I was obedient and it did the opposite.
And God said, believe in me, and so
I had absolutely. I had 3 promotions since my book was written and published.
Hello.
3.
You better speak about elevation.
Thank you. So I tell people, know your status, get tested, please. Either get into care or get linked with a PrEP coordinator. Just know your status, and that's super important. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Hey, I'm so proud of you.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you just did your life the way you needed to do it for you.
Yes,
and it was
ma'am.
just for you,
Yeah.
nobody
ma'am.
in particular.
Thank you.
And that's self-preservation.
Thank you so much.
So on that note, I feel like for me, my life being what it was then to now is that when I see people that knew me then and they see me now, they're like, you different. They see the difference, you know. I don't have to tell you that, okay, I've been celibate since 2012. I don't have to tell you that I go to service twice a week. You can see me. My actions show. You already know that, okay, I used to look like this. I don't look like that anymore. I don't put on the wigs. I don't put on none of that stuff. You know, I just do me. I'm point blank me.
That's
and I'm
it.
happy. My kids say, Mom, we so proud of you. Every time I have grandkids now, mainly girls instead of boys. So I can talk to them about everything. And they say, really, Nana? And it makes me feel good because they don't believe it.
Well, we thank you so much. Thank you both for
Thank
just
you for
sharing your
having us.
experience with us.
Thank
Malachi, where can people go for more information?
Listen, for more information, you can definitely go to www.linkyou, that's L-I-N-K, the letter U, DMV.org. And if you want to hear more episodes, continue this conversation, see resources, and maybe continue the conversation, you can visit us at dcnshiv.org and click the podcast icon. Listen, as we sign you out, we just want to echo everything that was said here today. No matter what your gender, no matter how you express that gender, no matter what your sexuality is, we just want you to know that you are not a lie, that you are definitely, this is definitely a place and a platform where we see and respect your light.
Yes.
And we definitely love the diversity of our audience and the diversity of our community. So
Yes.
until next time, I'm Malachi Stewart,
I'm T. Pearson Hall.
and we'll see you later on the next episode. Bye.
Positive Voices.